All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 8. That is right, week number 8 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. JSK Alston, and the main thing that I want to tell you is that you made it, you made it, you made it. All you have left is your semester-long project. This is week 8. It's the final week of the summer semester, and you all did a terrific job. Let me just tell you that up front, okay? Yes, I haven't gotten through the LibGuides yet, and so I'll be throughout the week grading LibGuides, grading discussions, and getting ready to receive those semester-long projects. But again, the work that y'all did in the unassignment, the 2 earlier papers, and the discussion boards that I've graded so far, excellent, excellent job. For those of you who this is your first class within CISLT, please be encouraged that your performance here has likely meant that you should do just fine throughout the remainder of the program. So I am excited to see what y'all do from here on out. And yes, good job. I don't know what else to say except good job. What we're going to do is a quick state of the course update, and then I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the Chilton's database. And after that, we will I'll tell you some classes that I would recommend if you plan to be an adult services reference librarian, and that will be it. So this one will not be as long as your previous check-in videos. I know that y'all are working on those semester-long projects, so and it's the last semester, the last week. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, and let's pause. All right, so first things first, yes, we're going to make me small here, move me out of the way. And so, yes, you have gotten through your discussion board prompt number 7. And so the last thing that you have to do, which is due Friday, I want y'all to be aware that it's due Friday, not Sunday, is your semester-long project. After you get through that, you are done. Now, I do want to say that with the semester-long project, what you need to answer is what the question asks. So I do want you to be just assured that there are not unwritten expectations within the semester-long project. You ask, if the question asks for something, you supply what the question asks for. So there's no unwritten rule that, oh, you have to format some perfect APA or something like that. If the question does not ask you to provide a citation, you don't have to provide a citation. It's just that simple. So yes, and again, I've mentioned this earlier, but I'll mention it again. I do not check for APA proper APA use with the semester-long project because, quite frankly, these take a long time to grade anyway, and I have to get them graded before the grading deadline. So I don't have time to check APA for those. It's just that simple, okay? So just go ahead and complete it, and just rest assured that if you answer the question, you will get the points, all right? And that is how the semester-long project works. I'll be grading LibGuides throughout the week, like I said, as well as the discussion board prompts. So all of those grades will be coming in shortly, okay? And really, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, go ahead and hit me up either in a Canvas message or by email. That is it for the state of the course update. Go ahead and take a break right here, and then we will talk a little bit. By the way, I hope you speed this up. As always, we will talk about the Chilton's database very, very quickly next. I will spend probably no more than about 5 minutes talking about that. All right, so let's go ahead and shift gears, and we're going to look at Chilton's really quick. This is going to be very, very superficial. However, when I talk about databases, a lot of times what I like to do as well is raise your awareness of databases that may be of interest to friends and not just people you might encounter behind a reference desk as a librarian or a reference provider. Also want to provide you with some information that you might be able to share with friends. Like you might find a friend on social media who's like, hey, I've got this car issue and what do I do about it? And then you can, when it comes to something like Chilton's, you can refer them to this database and be like, hey, there is a library database that covers these car issues, and you can use it for free and get some diagrams and look at the manual and that sort of thing. The manual is free to look at, and they may be appreciative of that. So, and I've done that before, so let's go ahead and do that. We are going to come over here. No, that is not where we wanted to go. I'm sorry. We're going to come over here, and let me find, let me pause. Okay, so we've got Chilton's right here, and I'm gonna log in and okay. So again, this is going to be very superficial. If you want to get some more experience and really dig into what Chiltons can do, then go ahead and find some tutorials online, play around with the database yourself, call your local public library and see if they have access to it. And if they do, again, just play around with it yourself, and that's a good way to learn this database. But Chiltons does have one primary use, and that primary use is to pull up the instruction manuals or the owner's manuals for a variety of different vehicles. A lot of people lose the user manual or that sort of thing, or can't find it or whatever when they have something that they have to do. YouTube can also, of course, be very useful for various car maintenance needs. I used YouTube the other day, in fact, to recharge my air conditioner, but the things you really need the manual for, if you can't get a hold of the manual without paying for it, then this is a way to access it for free. So I'm going to show y'all how to do that. Okay, actually, I'm sorry, scratch that. I apologize. I told you something that was wrong just then. So Chiltons does have the owner's manual for quite a few vehicles, but for it's not exhaustive, so they don't have the owner's manuals for other vehicles that they have. So I apologize for that. I am going to show you an example of how to access the owner's manual when they do have it. So I'm actually going to use my own vehicle as a example of that here. So I apologize for the confusion there. But yes, so there are going to be times when they do have the owner's manual, and I'm going to show you one of those times. So I have a 2014 Subaru Forester, what they call a Dadmobile. And so, yes, if you needed the owner's manual for this, you do have a table of contents and various things here. You can come to owner's manual, and then you can click owner's manual right here. And then once you click that, you actually have the full owner's manual in PDF form, all 534 pages. So that is the case for this particular vehicle and for quite a few vehicles. I think more of the recent vehicles, but I apologize. I did make it sound like that's all vehicles, and that's not the case. So we're going to go back out and show you some other things with a different model vehicle. So hold on one second. I'm going to pull up one of the old vehicles that I used to have, and then I'm going to show you some other features from there. All right, so again, my apologies for that. Now, when you don't have the actual owner's manual, and when I was in my 20s, I had a 1995 Honda Prelude. I love that car. I had rims on it and everything. I was the man with that car for a little while, as small as that car was. But when you don't have the owner's manual, and as you can see, we don't have an option for owner's manual here, what you can do is you can do a freeform search, or you have different systems within the car, and you can look up repair items based on these systems. So let's say, for instance, that you did need to handle a brake issue. What you could do is you could select brakes here. And you've got all these various things here. I'm not a car person, so I don't really know what all of this stuff means, but let's say that you are trying to do some work on the parking brake, then what you could do is you could click parking brake here, and then you could click adjustment, and yeah, then you can pull the information. You've got diagrams and different information for repair here. I will say that, yeah, you probably do have to have some mechanical knowledge in order to really make sense of what's going on here. But you as the librarian, what you'll tend to do is provide the information. You don't have to decipher the information. Usually when people are coming in for this information, they are either mechanics, even if they're shady tree mechanics, but they are either mechanics or people who are otherwise trying to work on the car. And so all they need is the diagram, the terminology, and everything, and they don't need the librarian most of the time, in my experience at least, to decipher what's going on for them. And if you do need somebody who needs the librarian to decipher what's going on for them, that might not be the person you want working on your car. Okay? So you have that, and then we're going to go out. So it is not just limited to repair things. You will also see, as you saw up here, they do have maintenance intervals, and these are really cool. So what you can do is, now you can, there are different models of the Honda Prelude. I had a Honda Prelude SC, which was special edition. I'm not going to go into all of that right now. Let's just go into the full chart list, and let we can pick this here. All right, and so basically what this will show you are the different things that you need to do. So under normal conditions, this will show you what to do at every mileage listing. So once you have put 150,000 miles on this Honda Prelude, these are the things that they recommend you inspect or deal with, and that includes the brakes, brake hoses and lines, all these other things, exhaust system, blah, blah, blah. And as you put in different mileages, you're going to see different results here. So at the oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't the 150,000 mile mark. That was the 15,000 mile mark. Dr. Jace can read. I promise you I can, even though it doesn't look like I can right now. So let's do the 100,000 mile mark. Put that there. You will see a different level of services there, and so forth and so on. When you get to 200,000 miles, that's when a lot of these cars start to play out. Oh, and they're not even gonna give you that. So, but even at, I'm sure it's gonna tell me something at 3,000. Let's see some basic stuff. Come on, man. What's going on? Okay. All right. So I don't know why it's doing me like that, but yeah, so even at 10,000 miles, let's see if it does 10,000 miles. It might be that this particular vehicle, I guess, doesn't even start with recommended service until 15,000 miles, and I guess that's because they are looking at things like changing the oil and things like that as such common routine services that they don't really have to go into a bunch of explanation about that. So yeah, this is what you get at 6,000, and you can toggle here. I probably should have told you that too. So you can toggle here. So yeah, they're not going any lower than 15,000, but then at 30,000, they're telling you this is what you need to do. Oh, they got a lot of stuff at 30,000. So there you go. So this is probably, and I'm sorry, I haven't been in this database recently, so this is why. Okay, so I should have toggled here. So yeah, you can enter mileages here, but then also you probably just want to also toggle. And this is a way also, like before you take your car in for maintenance, you can go on here just in case the mechanic is trying to rip you off and get you into some services you don't need. If you've been keeping up with the services, then you can say, well, no, at 30,000 miles, my car only needs this, this, and that. And so that's what I want you to do. Don't do anything else. And that way you don't end up paying for unnecessary services. Now, another useful piece here, the labor estimating is something I've never even really understood, but sometimes a mechanic would call me and would ask about the labor estimating thing. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go into that. I would just pull that number for them and they knew what it meant. But this is also really good. The recalls are really good. So, and as you can see, they have recalls even on this 1995 Prelude, a 30-year-old car. They are still coming out with recalls right now. So whenever you want to look up recalls, like they've had recalls as recently as nearly 2 years ago, you can go ahead and click it and look at the recall information there. And if you want to take it to the dealer to deal with it, then by all means you can do so. All right, the last thing that I'm going to show you in this database, there is a video library and a VIN decoder. The video library is pretty self-explanatory, so you can look into stuff like this on your own. And actually, I found, to be honest with you, I found YouTube more useful than the video libraries to take that for what it is. VIN decoder, yeah, I don't know why you really even need to look at that. But there are preparation tests, and so if you want to become a mechanic, these are pretty useful. You can go to the test prep quizzes and that sort of thing, and you can take quizzes and tests on your vehicle knowledge. So that's something that somebody, if you're trying to aspire to learn more about cars, or you want to help somebody else who is trying to learn about cars and get a certification of something, this is something that you can use for that. All right, so I spent way more time in that database than I intended to. I hope you sped it up, but we are going to leave this database now, and if you want to get more information, then again, by all means, or if you want to get better at the database, I should say, then by all means, go ahead and find some tutorials and play around with it. All right, let's go into one more thing and then we'll wrap up. Okay, so the final thing that I'm going to make y'all aware of, and this is just something to keep in mind if you do, again, want to be an adult services reference librarian, then there are two classes that I would recommend that you take outside of this reference class, and those two classes are, first of all, whether you and this is something that kind of catches people off guard. They think that, oh, if I go into a particular library, then I won't have to deal with medical or business questions. Well, yes, you will. If you are in any public or academic library, you are going to end up dealing with medical questions, and you're going to end up dealing with business questions, and they can be very uncomfortable if that's not your specialty. Okay, so there are some classes that I recommend you take if you want to be an adult services librarian. If you want to be a K-12 librarian, or if you want to be a teen librarian, yes, teen librarians and children's librarians, they answer reference questions, as do K-12 librarians, but they tend to not get in-depth medical and business questions. And in fact, I would say that if you end up working as a K-12 librarian and a student comes to you with a very intense business or either a very intense business or medical question, as a K-12 librarian, I think it's totally fine to say, hey, I can show you what I can show you, but you're going to get better help at the public library, okay? Sometimes it just happens that way. All right, so let's talk about those two classes. Come on, baby. All right, let me pause while I find my Control F isn't working for some reason. Hold on. All right, so this is my first one right here. I do recommend that if you want to be an adult services librarian, one of the electives that you take is health and medical information and services in libraries. This is something, whether you're a public or academic librarian, this is something that's going to familiarize you with a bunch of the nursing and medical databases, and this is going to come in handy if you get a very in-depth question about medical resources or that sort of thing. A lot of times your public and academic libraries will have a dedicated liaison to the like nursing or medicine and that sort of thing. So don't think that you're going to be taxed with this type of inquiry a lot. You're most likely not going to be. However, it could happen, and when it happens, you don't want to be totally caught off guard. You want to at least get your patrons started and then refer them to your liaison, and so this will be helpful for that. Now, I teach the business class. So I'm a former business librarian for Coastal Carolina University near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And so the other class that I recommend is this one right here, Services for Business Communities and Entrepreneurs, which is 9449. In this class, I familiarize you with a lot of the common business databases and a lot of the common business resources. And so this class also comes in handy, very much so, when you are trying to become an adult services librarian. So get that information there, and that is something that, again, keep these electives in mind. I will teach this class. I teach it every odd spring, so that means a spring in the odd numbered years. So I taught it in 2025. I'll teach it in 2027 in the spring semesters. People tend to enjoy this class a lot. They're scared to take the class, and then once they actually do take the class, they tend to enjoy it. So I would like for y'all to consider this class if you are going to be an adult services librarian and you're not all that up to snuff on the business resources. Okay, so that's what it is right there, and I will leave it right there and then just say, yes, go ahead and finish those semester-long projects. I am looking forward to grading y'all out, and that is pretty much it. I am Dr. Jace, and y'all have finished this race. I hope to see y'all in other classes. It's been a pleasure. Take care.